We have 9 wonderful honorees this year that we are inducting into the Hall of Fame. The first one I'm going to bring up is a family that's very special to me. I call them the Bonaventure family because their kids graduated over a decade ago. But you'll go to any game and you're going to find Art and Melita in the stands someplace. I remember going to a CIF playoff game in Lancaster, middle of nowhere, probably 20 degrees, wind blowing 90 miles per hour, and there's Art and Melita walking the outfield to their seats. Their son Art played for me. He transferred over from Channel Islands first year here and went to the CIF finals. He wasn't eligible because of the transfer, but he played on 3 very strong baseball teams that we had here. We were ranked #1 every single year during that time. He's going to come and speak for his mom and dad tonight. I'd like you to welcome Art Gilbreth III.
Thank you, Coach. Good evening, everybody. My name is Art Gilbreth, class of 2008. Played football and baseball here at St. Bonaventure. I want to give a thank you to the entire school here at St. Bonaventure, from Mrs. Castro, Coach Herrera, Coach Camacho, the Max, the Therriens, and many, many more. You guys have supported my family since 2005, since I stepped on campus. So I'm very appreciative of everything you guys have done for my family. The school has been a gift from God, and we can't thank you enough for the joys and the relationships you have given the Gilbreth family. I want to give a congratulations to the inductees tonight, especially the ones that I know. The 4 of the inductees that I know that have made an impact in my life are Mike Williams and Troy Hill, and then my 2 coaches, Coach Bill Therrien and Todd Therrien. You guys have been an impact on my life as a student athlete. I'll start with Mike. Mike Williams, when I first stepped on campus and I saw you working out and they're showing how to do power cleans. This power cleans is the football workout that just gets us going as football players to be able to tackle and quick twitch and all that. I saw Mike do it perfectly, the power clean, and I said, I want to be like Mike. And so I mastered how to do power cleans the next 3 years, and really helped propel my career in the weight room as a collegiate athlete. And then Troy, seeing Troy Hill when he first stepped on campus, and I remember a practice where we were wearing no pads, and one of our tight ends, Raphael Washington, was catching a pass, and he was running full speed downfield, and Troy Hill, with no fear, went and tackled Raphael, took him out, went lower on him with no fear. And I thought, man, that guy is special. And who is this guy coming into St. Bonaventure? And now we see him doing those same kind of things in the NFL today. So it's just amazing to see the impact that these men have done to show fearlessness and tenacity on the field. And then with the Therriens, Bill and Todd just being such a stronghold and just being there for us as student athletes. Not just coaching us in the sport, but in life. We talk about champions in life here at St. Bonaventure, and I'm seeing it across the board with a lot of my friends who are my lifelong friends. It's because of playing underneath you guys. And Coach Therrien, Todd Therrien, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without him. As much as I wanted to be an everyday player and starter for this school, Coach T always believed in me, and he's the reason why I ended up going to play Division I football at San Jose State. So I'm very thankful for what his impact has been on my life over all these years. As for my parents, Melita and Art, I wanted to transfer out of the high school I was at when I was a freshman. And actually one of my best friends, Andrew Diaz, is here too. We were both going to the same high school in Oxnard, and we decided we wanted to leave. And we both kind of talked about where should we go. And St. Bonaventure was kind of on that talk list. And we both went to our parents, and and our parents did not even say no. They said, let's do it. They said, let's do it. And I think my dad had a conversation with Coach Mack one time when he was filming or watching a game, and Coach Mack was watching another school play football. And Dad said, I think St. Bonaventure might be the spot to go. And so my parents supported me ever since that day, and they've supported this school ever since 2005. And they've kept me in touch with this program, with this school, since I left and graduated. And I wouldn't be connected as I am today, even with my coaches, my former coaches, if it wasn't for my parents. And they support each other. They showed what it looked like to have a godly marriage, a marriage that was, honoring to each other and also supportive of each other. So I'm just very thankful for what they've given. And so what's kind of cool is watching my parents go to these events, and I'm far away in another state or wherever I'm living, and I can always hear St. Bonaventure sports in the background somehow, some way. It's like, oh yeah, we're at the volleyball game, or we're at the softball game, or we're here and that, we're in this city. And it just gave me comfort knowing that they were with St. Bonaventure family. And that comfort is today too. I'm just very, very thankful for this entire community. And I'm excited for what the future holds in this, for this school. And the game last night, I'll talk about my mom. And my mother passed away in April. And so she fought cancer for 10 years. She had breast cancer and metastasized, but she fought. You would never think that she was hurting, feeling sick, but she was always out there, no matter if it was cold or it was a hot day for a sporting event. She was there, and she was there to support my dad. And she loved the school because she loved how the school treated her boys. So thank you guys for that. And last night was amazing to see the football team go against a team that they were supposed to lose to, and we came out there and won. And my mom would have been so proud of those boys. She would have been so proud of the coaching staff. Joe, great job with those guys. But this night's about my parents and just how amazing they have been to just this school. And this school has been amazing to them. It's just this give and take that I guess we can't repay, but to hear that you guys want to honor my parents as they support this school, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We love this school, we love St. Bonaventure, and we look forward to supporting you guys in the future. And don't be a stranger to my dad. Say hey to Art. He's the film guy for the football team, and he is one of the top fans of this school. And so thank you, Dad. Thank you for everything. Thank you to my mother, Melita, and everything that she's done. We're just going to keep pushing forward, even if we're mourning right now. She would want us to continue to have pride in what the school's doing and in our lives. Thank you all.
Yeah.
And now I'd like to bring up Art Gilbreth to accept for Art and Melita. I'm going to respect that. I'm going to bring up somebody who didn't want to go first. You didn't have to go second. Yes, you're ready now.
I ain't ready.
Yes, you are.
Oh, me?
Yes, you. I'm going to bring up Coach Andy Gibson to speak for Coach Bill Therrien. This could take a while, so go get something to drink if you want.
I'll be the mic. I'm not loud. Now, Camacho, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna get you first. How many believe that was the best speech to start with tonight? Not me. I talk a long time. I make a lot of noise. I'm kind of goofy. That was beautiful. It teared me up because I know the family. It teared me up because as a coach, I remember seeing he has no daughters, but he's been at our softball championship games. You know, he goes to all sports, and we couldn't have started no better. So where did he go? Hey, can you come speak for me now, be mine? Because you covered everybody. You did a great job. That's my guy Therrien. Wow. All right. I'm not going to read these notes because I just saw what you did and you did a good job. So I'm going to try and do it. But first, I'm not sure I know all of this stuff about Bill Therrien, my guy. My love, you know that, right? As much love as we can have. But you my love. This is some of the notes I did not know, but I want to let you people know. He started coaching at St. Bonaventure in 1994 as an assistant football coach. He was on the JV level. It took him only 1 year, 1995, and he was brought up to the varsity. That's because Coach Mack knew what he was doing. In 1995, as an assistant, he coached the linebackers. He did that until 2013. If we go back, 2003, he started coaching as an assistant in varsity softball. 2003, I believe their team went to the CIF championship once within that time. And then in 2009, he was promoted to the head coach. 2009, 10, Allah, that's me now. I do not know why this man asked me to coach with him, because I knew nothing about softball, but I knew a lot about baseball. I literally started coaching baseball, a little bit about me, when I was 17 years old, out of high school with T. Hall. Some of the kids I coached, one of them now is the head coach at Santa Paula, Gabe Diaz. Proud of that guy. But he saw something in me from football with my energy and the things I knew that I could bring, that he brought me on. And I want to thank him for that. Because of what he's done, I'm still now coaching softball. After softball, or before softball, I got lost right there. See, I'm gonna get emotional. That's why you were perfect, dude. I gotta try and copy you now. I'm losing. During his softball time, he had 5 league championships. He had 5 Coach of the Year nominations, where he was the Coach of the Year. He was the 2-time CIF Coach of the Year. 2017, he received the California Coaches Award for the Coach of the Year. He was a 2-time CIF champion. He was 5-time CIF appearances. I have no idea how he has these records, because I don't know mine, but he's 137 and 107 in his totals. This man knows what he's doing. I don't know none of that. That's amazing to me, buddy. You're awesome. He had a streak of 49-3 at one time in league. That was their record. He coached for 25 years, only as a walk-on, wasn't a teacher, which is, us walk-ons, it's very hard to do because you're not here on an everyday basis. During this time, he's also a sheriff. So one of the things I was really impressed by him, because I worked in corrections, is the fact that he did all of this and he still had time to do that kind of job, to be out there in the public, under the being in danger every day, and still brought a very good positive attitude to the kids. And that's one thing you don't realize you taught me as I was in the prison. I was kind of crazy at first, and then I met you and I had to calm down and say, oh, I gotta do it like Bill does it, because Bill's a calm dude. It didn't go real well. I'm not that calm, you know that. He is also currently married to Darcy. Darcy, you're a sweetheart. I don't know how he got that lucky, but he got lucky. But you're a blessing. They now live together in Glendale, and he is also the dad of Todd Therrien, which all of us know. Now, that's what he wanted me to do. See, I'm not real good when I'm reading what I'm supposed to say. This dude, now you get it from me. Hello, Bucko. Hello, Bucko. He likes Bucko. Do-do-do. That's his favorite saying when you don't really know what you're doing. Do-do-do. And a lot of times I would call someone and say, well, coach, I thought we were doing. Yeah, I know you thought that. Do-do-do. You're kind of dingy. So I learned that that word was disrespectful later on. I had to try to look up do-do-do. But it wasn't nowhere for me to find out. So that's how creative this man was. I also understand, you know, he's got 3 young ladies here. Where are they? There's Jalen, Celeste, Tasha, how you doing? He was the one who showed me that the girls are very, very important to him and to this program and to us. And I carried on a lot of the things he's done, like our trips, our bonding, all because of you. The way, see, I don't want to go there. The way he treated his girls was the way I wanted to be. And I now have heard girls tell me, you're not as mean as you used to be. No, I'm not, because I've learned from him to have a little bit more compassion, not yell so much, and to listen. One of the greatest things I think he did, and that young lady's here, is he nominated a girl for Kiwanis Student Athlete of the Year. And I was able to go to that event, and it's just the things that I got to see Bill do. You know, to be honest, I've been around a lot of good coaches here. You know, started with Camacho in baseball, Coach Matt, his son, him, Joe Ganetti now. And the people here at St. Bonaventure are very, very special. My coaching career started at Wainini, and I see a difference from the public to here. I see the tight-knitness. I see the Gilbreth family. I see families that come back and stay. And that's what's awesome. My kids came here. All I know is, Bill, I can't thank you enough for being my best friend. Although I did hate after every practice talking to you for an hour and a half about the stuff that was bothering you. I mean, we are literally, bro, you know our practices were from 3:30. And this dude had to drive a trailer to our practices. We'd get there at 3:30 set up, we went from 4 to 6. I have no idea why I had to get home at 7:30 every night. Because I had to give this man counseling. I do have a bill. I added up all of the hours that I did with you, because you're pretty rich now, retired. I heard you're golfing. But I need money. I need money right now for my tax problems. And you kept me after every practice to complain about every parent on our team. I'm not gonna tell all, some of the parents are here right now. I'm not gonna tell you. But you used to really, I was like, wait bro, you got a wife now, go tell her that crap, don't be. No, Gibby, what are we gonna do? We got to do that. But it has been an honor coaching with you. What's that? Your notes? Oh, you gonna get me? Okay. Then I better keep going. I told you don't let me talk first. I was gonna talk a long time. Did we got the clock? Did we start the watch back there? And you got the watch? How much more time I got? Oh, I'm done? Okay. See, I can make it up as I go, but I'm gonna let you go. I think you got something to say. I think they did a great job, and I don't want to get too deep into this. Being on the committee and being the one that got to put you on with your son and with Art and with all these people I know, it was awesome. And I was glad to go visit your son when they presented him his plaque. So, Therrien family, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you from St. Bonaventure's heart, and we love you. Stand here while you talk about me.
Wow. So, first off, I want to thank St. Bonaventure and Coach Mack for hiring me as a football coach way back when and bring me up to the varsity level. That was fun. I have to thank my wife. Because, you know, as coaches, wife has to hear the wins, the losses, and all the other stuff, as Gibby said. Some parents that, you know, don't agree with the coaches. So I did make Gibby stay with me for an hour. But we did have a lot of long talks. We were like oil and water a lot of times. But our whole main goal was we play for what's on the front of our jersey, not on the back of the jersey. So, but I have to really thank my wife because she heard everything, you know, the ups and the downs. My wife Darcy. And you know, when you're winning, it's always good. But when you're losing, you got to think, okay, what am I doing wrong? So can't even read my own notes. This award is not just about me. You know, it's the coaching staff, it's the parents, it's the players. I'm just the head coach that I'm getting this award, and I'm very grateful to that. Yes, I did. We were standing at the end of the end zone when I finally got the head coach nod for softball. And I said, wow. Because softball, we didn't have our own field. JVs practiced way over there. Varsity practiced in Satakoy or Blanche Reynolds. So I never even saw who our JV coach was, which was Brenda Drew. In passing, hey coach, how you doing? So I have to thank her for keeping the JV program together. And I said, you know what? I want you to keep on with the JV program, but I'm going to change one thing when I become the head coach. We're going to practice together. So I know what my JVs are doing, our JVs are doing, so when they come up to the varsity level, when we're talking varsity lingo, I want the JVs to talk the same way. And I think that's what Coach Mack did with the freshmen, JVs, and the varsity. We all talked the same lingo, so nobody was, what are we talking about, especially at the varsity level. So I changed that, and the girls were always complaining about, why does the football team get everything? You know, football gets this, they get the good buses, they get to do this. And I said, well, at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're lifting weights. What are we doing to make ourselves better? So we hired Lacey Green for CrossFit, Monday and Tuesdays, come October 1. If you're not playing a secondary sport, you're doing conditioning. We're getting ready for dirt, and that's what we did. So I have to thank Lacey because she asked, hey, do you want to do some of this CrossFit stuff? I don't know if you ever seen her do CrossFit. I was sweating just watching her. So I said, no, I'm good. I didn't do it. So back to Gibby. So we're standing at the end of the end zone one day, we're talking. I said, hey, why don't you come on over and play softball, or coach softball? Because I have no idea, girls softball. I said, well, I've seen you play softball in the police league. You're a pretty damn good player. And you're a pretty good rah-rah guy. I said, you need to come over from baseball. We got a new program going. Hey, come on up with me. And he did. And first couple of years, we walked off the fields going, Jesus Christ, oh, excuse me. Sorry. I said, we don't know what we're doing. And it was tough first couple of years. And then we finally went into, we started to win ball games. In 2013, I believe it was, we went to a CIF to Rosemont. And at that time, I don't feel the girls were committed. And I didn't let them be committed. And in 2014, as you can tell right there, 24-4, we had a great run. And I think we could have, and well, the only school I have never beat was Oaks Christian, but Pete Ackerman had the horses, so we were pretty close to beating them that year. So like I said, it's not just about me, it's about the program. And football had a program, and I wanted to make it a program. And that's what we did as coaches. Just a little story about one of my former players, Natasha. In our parent meeting, I said I didn't care if the freshman's good enough to play on the field, she's gonna start. And if you're seniors that are thinking that you're gonna get a position, you better work harder than that freshman. Well, Natasha worked really hard. Well, her first game, she slid back into second base, broke her hand. She came back off the field, she didn't even tell me she broke her hand. And I had a rule that no parents could come up to the dugout and sit there and chit-chat with you. If you had an injury, I'll see if you're injured. If it's a hurt, then we'll, rub some dirt on it, get back out in the field. Well, she had her hand broken, and I went, oh my God, Marion, that's her mom, her hand's broken. So now, we go 3 years in, she's a team captain. And she came up to me, and team captains are very important to me because they're the second voice of us coaches. And she came up, she started barking one day, and I went, oh, really? I said, stop. She went, what? You forgot what my first name is. Coach. And your first name is player. She was, oh, yeah. And then she walked off. But come the last game, the last at-bat, she wins CIF. Gets the winning run. Natasha. I have 2 other team captains here, Celeste Ekman and Jalen Barone. Both, I had to tell Gibby, do not mess with these players. You can talk to them, but do not change anything with them, please. Because they had the perfect swings. And we talk about attitude, effort, and execution, and that's what they had. They brought the attitude and effort, and that's why we had championship teams. We went 49-3 in the league one day. That's because of Coach Camacho said, hey, just step down in the league and see what happens. Build your program. More girls will come in. And thank you, Coach, for talking to me that one day. I really appreciate that. I didn't agree with it at then because I always felt that we should be playing at the upper level, but I had a little bit of ego. I let it go, and then we started building our program again. I have to thank everybody here at St. Bonaventure who gave me the chance. I coached here for 25 years. Until I left to Arizona, I'd probably still be coaching here. So I really thank everybody, the football players, Mike Williams, Art, any other football players here? You guys, it was fun. Coming here to coach was fun. And it was fun. I enjoyed coaching you young men. Now you're coaching yourself. Teaching young players how to play ball, how to be young men. And I really appreciate everything that you guys did for me as a coach. So it was fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Can you tell?
And I'd like to introduce into the Hall of Fame, Bill Therrien. Before we move on, I'll give a couple of quick thank yous. First of all, to our other AD right here, Brent Hall. First year with St. Bonaventure, but he did a lot of work behind the scenes for this night. So, let's give him a round of applause. And to my work sister back there, who worked her butt off today to get this place looking really nice. Not a gymnasium today, it's a banquet hall. Dawn worked. The next inductee I'd like to bring in, I'm not going to talk too much because I'm going to get emotional on this one too. It's Todd Therrien. I wish he was here with us tonight. But where'd he go? Where'd Pep go? Okay, we're going to delay for a little bit then. Hurry up, Pep! Okay, we're going to move on. Okay. I don't want to embarrass him. I'm going to bring a Sparky to talk about one of our baseball players, Andrew Corona. Jeremy Sparky.
Tough acts to follow. There's some great St. Bonaventure, alumni and coaches here tonight. So I'm going to do my best here. Like Coach said, my name is Jeremy Scarlett, class of '96. I'm honored to be here to say a few words about my very good friend, Mr. Andrew Corona. Try not to get choked up along the way. Talk about his baseball career, and how his life and my life have intertwined over the past 30 years. Andrew's baseball career began at De Anza Middle School, playing Ventura Pony baseball as a 6-year-old, where his dad, Tony, was always the coach. It was here that I'm pretty sure I first crossed paths with him, because I played there too when I was in 8th grade. Andrew also played a couple years of football for the Ventura Packers in the 7th and 8th grade. But I met Andrew in earnest 2 years later, right out there on the football field. I was going into my sophomore year, so it was summer football. Andrew was an incoming freshman, but he had a big cast on his arm, and he was out there slinging the ball with his left hand. He had broke his arm at a graduation party, so unfortunately missed most of that season. But Andrew was really good friends with a guy that I became really good friends with, which was Nick Trujillo, and the three of us would go on to have quite a few adventures over the years, none of which are safe for this meeting to discuss, but a great friendship was started there. Andrew went on to play one more year of football as a sophomore, but baseball really became his sport. I enjoyed playing 3 seasons with Andrew here at St. Bonaventure. And after playing a year of JV baseball, Andrew was called up to the varsity baseball team as a sophomore, and he never looked back. And I'll tell you, one of my favorite memories from that year was when Coach Camacho here, he was just a young buck. And he used to go out there and bash fly balls out to us and hit them as far as he can. So that was a great memory here with Coach. But Andrew played for Coach Dennis Johnson, who's also in the Hall of Fame, and our assistant coach, Coach Camacho. Andrew was a great shortstop, a pitcher, and a great hitter. In the final game of Andrew's career at Bonaventure, he hit a home run in the D5 playoff loss to Kilpatrick. He led the team, the 97 team, his senior year in extra base hits, and was second on the team in batting average, batting .340 for the year, and was named All-League Honorable Mention. Andrew went on to play at Moore Park College for Ken Wagner, where he became a full-time pitcher, and along the way earned a 3.7 grade point average. His big opportunity in junior college came when he played in the junior college Southern Section All-Star Game at Loyola Marymount University. Andrew told me a great story today that I didn't even know, but he was warming up in the bullpen, and he said because of the way it was constructed and he was bringing the heat, the ball was really popping. And all the scouts stopped watching the game and came over and bent their radar guns over the side of the wall just to see who this guy was. So he had the pop in the bullpen, and then when he got on the mound, he retired all 7 batters that he faced, striking out 6. And that was good enough for Tulane to offer him a full ride scholarship. Andrew was also selected in the 1999 draft by the Baltimore Orioles in the 36th round, but he decided to continue his education and play for Tulane. And once Andrew got to Tulane, he really excelled. During the 2001 season, I was able to see him pitch against UCLA at Jackie Robinson Stadium, where I was a student at the time. And that was really the first time I'd seen him play in 5 years since we had graduated, so that was a real special memory for me. Andrew was a regular starter on that Tulane team, and they won the Conference USA title that year. In the semifinal game of that tournament, Andrew earned a save, giving up only 1 hit over the final 3 innings and propelling his team to the title game. And they went on that year to make the school's first appearance in the College World Series, and they went all the way to the final 8 teams, where they ultimately lost to Cal State Fullerton in the 2nd round. That Tulane team went 56-13 that year and ended the year as the 11th ranked team in the nation. Andrew posted a season record of 8-1 in his 9 starts with a whip of 1.52. Andrew was injured the following season, and after being denied a medical redshirt, he ended his baseball career at Tulane, but he graduated with a double major in business administration and finance. Andrew continued playing baseball. He signed with single A Fort Wayne Wizards for the 2003 season, which was a part of the San Diego Padres organization. He pitched 31 innings in relief over 20 games and posted a 3-3 record with 22 strikeouts. Unfortunately, after continuing arm issues during spring training, Andrew ended his pro career in 2004. It was around this time that I reconnected with Andrew. He came to work with me and Nick, where we were working in Irvine. And silly story, but I can vividly remember him coming out to play with our co-ed slow pitch softball team, and I was super impressed watching a college athlete play slow pitch softball. But it was there that Andrew met his future wife, Tristan, who's here with us tonight, and when me and Stephanie met her as well. We were neighbors in Corona. We had our first children 4 months apart. I was honored to name him the godfather to my firstborn son, Logan. And even after we moved away to Phoenix, we spent many weekends at the lake together with our families, and we've stayed in touch over the years, no matter where we were living, which is sometimes really hard to do. But the 7 kids we have between the 2 of our families have really become more like cousins. And I'm blessed to call him family, and his family are good friends. Andrew is still heavily involved in baseball, somehow finding time to coach all 3 of his sons as they've grown up. And he put on a practice in my backyard today while he was waiting for this event to go, and made sure all his boys got their training today too. So, Andrew's legacy to St. Bonaventure baseball is one that you can physically see every time you go to the field or drive by, because during the 1995 off-season, between his sophomore and junior years, Andrew and his father, Tony, built the block dugouts and the snack bar that are still standing today and used at that facility. And that's really what it means to leave your mark on a program. Andrew's parents are no longer with us, but I'm honored to be here to represent them and honor him with this award and this induction. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my good friend, Mr. Andrew Corona, to the St. Bonaventure Hall of Fame, class of 23.
Good evening. I was a little emotional. I appreciate that. You know, when I got the call, I guess coach was having a tough time tracking me down, and he had to go through Nick and go through Jeremy to finally get in touch with me. And the first thing that I thought to myself was, do I deserve this? Did I do enough? And I texted them back and I'm like, are you sure this is me? Did I do enough? And my good friends, they responded in the affirmative. And I talked to my wife about it, and you know, she said to me, you know, it's done, go enjoy it and experience it. So I want to thank faculty, coaches, all the inductees. I want to offer my congratulations to all of you, and I want to let you know that I'm very, very proud to be here today with you all, and it's an honor to be here and to be inducted. So I want to thank you very much. The other thing is when Coach told me I had to have someone come speak on my behalf, you know, it wasn't even a question for me of who. One, because you know, Jeremy and his family still live here in Ventura. They've been close to St. Bonaventure. Stephanie teaches here at Our Lady of Assumption, and I remember coming onto campus as a freshman, and as Jeremy said, reconnecting. And I looked up to him because he was an older classman. He was an upperclassman at that point. He was a sophomore, and I was a freshman coming in. I looked up to him then. I looked up to him and some of the other guys growing up and going through the program. And as Jeremy was talking about our families being intertwined, I've always had this great deal of respect for Jeremy and how he's handled himself as a man and as a family man and as a husband and a father. And it was no question for me who I would ask to bring up and introduce me. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, brother. I love you, I appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here. You know, when you are going through life and you're in the middle of playing, you go to school and you're in high school, and you know, this is the furthest thing from your mind. You know, you're just in the moment, you're out there working, you're with your teammates, you're with your friends, and you don't think about stuff like this. And you know, I had the fortune and the blessing of God to experience quite a bit in my career and see a few things and play at some places that are, you know, unbelievable. And, you know, Grant was giving me a, you know, reached out to me and asked me to provide a bio, and I told him, I said, man, it's been 25 years, 26 years, I hardly remember some of this stuff. You know, it's hard for me to put it all together, and it kept bothering me, and I was like, man, I kept talking to my wife, like, man, it's hard for me to remember all this stuff. And it's funny because you get here on campus, you get to the game last night, and all these memories start flooding back. You know, see some coaches, see some players, see some guys that I went to school with, and all of a sudden these memories start flooding back. And you remember how special it really was to be here. You remember how special it was. And it just makes you so proud. So again, I'm very proud to be here. And I remember when I got the opportunity to play in the College World Series, you know, they interview everybody, because whenever you come onto the field or whenever they call your name, they do like a little, you know, 20-second bio or whatever it is. Some, you know, folks back home know where you're from, people watching on TV know where you're from. I remember sitting down with Harold Reynolds of ESPN, Baseball Tonight, back in the day. And, you know, they asked me where I come from. And I said, Ventura, California. No idea where Ventura, California was. What school, high school did you go to? St. Bonaventure High School. What was your mascot? The Seraph. What's a Seraph? So I'm sitting there trying to explain to Harold Reynolds what a Seraph is, you know. And it's funny because, you know, during all these moments, I never really forgot, you know, about St. Bonnie. And, you know, I'm sitting on these bus rides in, you know, A-ball, in the Midwest, traveling from town to town. It was 15, 16-hour bus rides, you know, laying on the middle of the aisle trying to get some sleep, and, you know, just wondering what my friends were doing back home, and, you know, wondering if it was worth, you know, this discomfort, that I love the game that much, that I wanted to keep doing this. And I thought about, you know, some of the guys that I played with and some of the people that were a part of what got me to that point. And it's really interesting how it all came together and how it all worked out. And I feel extremely blessed to have started at a place like St. Bonnie, where there was such a great community, such good coaches, such good people, like we've all heard and talked about tonight. And I wouldn't have changed it for the world. And as Jeremy said, I'm still heavily involved in coaching and training athletes today. And one of the things that I tell them is that if you have just a glimmer, just a little bit of the opportunity that I've had in my life and my career, then I'm going to be extremely happy for you, and it'll be truly a blessing for you and your family. And it all starts where it starts. For me, it started at St. Bonnie, and I'm very proud of that, and I'll never forget it, so thank you very much.
I'd like to induct Andrew Corona into the St. Bonaventure Hall of Fame. We're going to try this one again. I'll bring my brother up now, my little brother. That's you, Pet. Look around. St. Joseph head coach, St. Bonaventure Hall of Famer himself, sharpest dressed coach of the Southern Central Coast. Who shamed me a minute ago and said, Coach, I need to take you to buy some dress shoes. So, Coach, I went out and changed shoes just for you. Pepe Villaseñor.
Thank you, Ralph. Try not to get emotional, but first and foremost, I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee and everyone involved with the inductees, the selections. Definitely would like to thank Ms. Castro, Mr. Herrera, Raul Camacho, and all the leaders that guide our young men and women here at St. Bonaventure these last couple of years. You guys have been doing an absolutely incredible job. And most importantly, want to thank our Lord and Savior for the gifts that He gives us each and every day. Obviously, there's incredible people here today with
extraordinary talents, and without our Lord, we wouldn't be able to display them. Thank you. I didn't have this on here, but as you hear all these people speak, you truly come to the realization how incredible St. Bonaventure is. I'm the head coach and assistant principal at St. Joseph High School up in Santa Maria, and any opportunity I get to try to instill and change that community and that high school to mimic St. Bonaventure, I do it with full force and all my passion. The legacy and tradition here is absolutely incredible. A couple of weeks ago, we had the fortune to be able to come down and scrimmage St. Bonaventure. And when I got inducted, I didn't really think much of it. But as my players came through the gym and saw the championships, and not just football, and went to the induction portion of our forum, it kind of brought tears in my eyes, because legacy and tradition is absolutely incredible. That's what we live when we go on to be with our Lord and Savior. And the fact that our school and our alumni do an incredible job of honoring the incredible young men and women who go through these halls and do great things is absolutely fantastic. I know we're gonna have Sister Josane be represented today, and so I would be remiss if I didn't tell this story about Sister. Coming here as a freshman, I came from South Oxnard, and at that particular time, there weren't many people that came from South Oxnard up to St. Bonaventure. And my first year, I had already decided that I'm not going to be at St. Bonaventure. I just didn't feel as though I fit at St. Bonaventure. Football year was trying. Someone decided that the wing tee offense would be great for St. Bonaventure, and I wasn't having it and didn't have a good time. So I knew I was going to transfer. Luckily, I had the opportunity to play varsity basketball as a freshman, and we had some mediocre game on a Wednesday night, and I got the opportunity to play. And but still already knew that I was leaving St. Bonaventure. As I'm walking through the halls, Sister comes up to me, says, "Pepe, can I speak to you for a second?" Certainly didn't know how she knew my name. And she came over to me and she told me, "I truly enjoyed seeing you play last night. You have to make sure that you work on your free throws because you missed a few." And at that point in time, I felt this incredible force of love that was absolutely incredible, and I knew that I belonged at St. Bonaventure. And I feel that this is what this community does. Anytime I come back, I know this place is home. So now it is my great honor, Sister, I love you, and thank you for that. It is my great honor to speak on behalf of the Therrien family and introduce my teammate, my colleague, my friend, and my brother, Todd Therrien. Many of you don't know, his nickname was Rhino, and like a rhino, that young man went full force, straight ahead, with extreme locked focus, with a great deal of aggression. That's how he was as a teammate, that's how he was as a young man, that's how he was as a coach. Many men here tonight, Michael Williams, Moreno, Art Gilbreth, obviously Coach Troy Hill. I guarantee you, every single one of them will tell you, and I assure you they will tell you, that Todd challenged them mentally, physically, and spiritually. And his whole goal the entire time was to not only create a great football team, a great player, it was to exceed their expectations on and off the field. They're incredible looking young men now. Thank you, brother. And he did it, sometimes aggressively, but know that he had love in his heart when he did it. And he sacrificed a great deal to do it. And the truth is, he challenged everyone. He challenged coaches, teammates, you name it. I remember one time, at that time, Carpinteria was a big deal. They had a lot of Division I athletes, and it was an intense week of practice. And Todd came out of nowhere and cheap shotted me, and I lost my mind. I took off my helmet and I tried to decapitate it with my helmet. Wasn't a very Christian thing to do, but that's the way practices were under John Mack in his earlier years. But the best part is practice ended, and I'm sure Todd and I had to hold hands and run around the field, which usually was the punishment for fighting at practice. But that night, he drove me all the way to South Oxnard, and we had dinner with my family, and it was like nothing ever happened. He brought out the best in a lot of people. One of the things, it's my motto in life, it's my motto with my family, it's my motto in my program, and it's Amor vinci omnia, which means in Latin, love conquers all. And if you love something, you will sacrifice for it. You will devote your life to it. It gets you up in the morning. It fills your heart. Todd loved to compete. He loved to bring the best out of his players. But most importantly, he loved to develop young men. He would always say, I want to make average players good. I want to make good players great. And I want to make great players unforgettable. But with that love, he sacrificed a great deal. He sacrificed sleep, vacations, hobbies, you name it. The truth is, he sacrificed his diet half the time. Because he would have at least 3 or 4 Red Bulls before practice even started. And when you got to practice, you know exactly what he ate for lunch because it was all over his shirt. But the one thing I can say about my brother is you could always count on him. And I could say that from when I was a freshman in high school to now as a grown man and being the head football coach at St. Joseph. My first game that I coached, I literally felt like my heart was gonna come out of my chest. On the bus to Central Valley Christian, who had just won the CAF championship, had 3 or 4 Division I players. I felt like if I had the heart attack on the way there, then I won't have to coach the game and no one will think I'm a fraud. Well, I had told Todd that we were gonna play there, and he had driven down to Fresno. And right before the game, he comes running on. And even though I had been with this coaching staff and these young men for 6 months, I felt alone. I felt completely alone. I felt like I was gonna have to play that entire team and that entire stand by myself. But when Todd got there, it was like that weight just lifted off my chest because I knew family was there. And even though I was still a little nervous right before he went up to the box because he was gonna give me every play possible to win the game, excuse my French, he said, whoop their ass. Well, the game ended and we went up 42-7, and all of a sudden they said our program was gonna be the next monster in the Central Coast. But what I'm truly trying to say is he brought comfort. You felt secure around Todd because you knew you were gonna get his best. I want to read a few accomplishments and give you your right. These areas, they have stats like there's no tomorrow. Todd entered St. Bonaventure in 1993, graduated in 97, was a 3-year starter on the varsity level, was second team All-League as a lineman as a junior, was first team All-League both on offense and defense, played in the East-West All-Star game, and also won a CIF championship, which we always say the 96 championship is the one who started the snowball. 97, he received an academic scholarship to Redlands University, where he then transferred in 98 to Ventura College and was first team offense in the Western State Conference. From 99 to 2001, he received a football scholarship to Western New Mexico University, where he graduated and received a Bachelor of Arts in U.S. History and a minor in English. From 2002 to 2005, he was a defensive coordinator for several CIF and state championships under John Mack. 2005, 2007, he was a co-head coach, and then he took the lead, which was extremely hard to do, to follow a great man like John Mack in 2008 to 2013. Within the first 2 years, he went 14-1, 5-0 in the league, and won 2 CIF and 2 state championships. He was a 4-time league coach of the year, 2-time CIF coach of the year, went 70-11, 34-3 in league. That's like Alabama and Saban-esque type records. I want to leave you all, because I know it's a long night, with the word now. No opportunity wasted. Now. Don't waste the opportunity to inspire someone. Don't waste the opportunity to help someone achieve their goals like Todd Therrien did. Don't waste an opportunity to inject kindness and love and change the direction of someone's life like Sister Josane did. Now, don't waste the opportunity to love those next to you. Todd, when you see this brother, I love you, and you'll soon be coaching with me again, but this time I'll be yelling at you. Love you.
I'd like to bring his dad, Bill Therrien, to accept the award for Todd Therrien.
Todd couldn't be here tonight, but he's truly humbled and grateful that as a player and a coach that he's getting this award. I know Pep talks about the '96 team under Coach Mack. Well, we had a guy named Dave Bernal on the team who was just a beast. And Todd and Dave one day decided they want to hit. Well, the whole program stopped to watch these two bulls go against each other. And we only let them do it once because it's like, oh my God, we're going to kill both of them. So one time they did that. So on the first state championship, we beat Central Catholic, I believe it was. We're walking off the field, and I'm walking with Todd because he told me I got to go up in the booth now. I couldn't be on the field. Anybody been at that field, that booth is like 14 flights up. And I had to come down. We're walking off the field, and he goes, "Hey, Dad, we're playing those guys next year." And I look over, I go, "What do you mean, those guys?" He goes, "We're playing Long Beach Poly." And I go, "Are you crazy? Look at that team. They have 5,000 kids. We're a school of 400 and something." He goes, "No, we're going to play all the big boys, and we got to put up to Pac-5. So all you guys, Todd had the thought, hey, we're going to play the big boys, and we're going to be put on the map, and we were.
We did that fall. I had a story on that one too. Coach Gianelli and I were at the Home Depot Center when it was called back there for a state banquet before the state game. And Raul Laura came up to us and said, "Hey, do you want to play this year?" He overheard me and Mike say we have nobody. You want to play this year? I go, "Yeah, we got to talk to our coach first though." So we went over to Long Beach for the CIF banquet right after that. We go up to Todd. Todd, Long Beach Paul was like, "Oh, excuse me, any kids?" "Hell yeah, we'll take them anytime, blah, blah, blah." And then Paulie came up and asked him, "Hey, do you want to play?" And he said, "Yeah." And then he looks at me after he walks away. Todd goes, "What did we just do?" He signed to play Long Beach Paulie. And then the question was, who's going to tell Mr. Groff? Because we knew what the answer was going to be. But Todd talked his way through that one. Next, I'd like to bring up a lady who I'm actually going to meet in better circumstances. She taught both my kids next door at OLA, and usually I was there for a teacher conference or my son did something very bad that she needed to talk to me about. But thanks to her and a lot of the teachers he had, he's an Oxford police officer for 6 years now, and my daughter, who she taught, is going to enter med school next year. So thank you, Mary, and Mary Osbourne will introduce her daughter. Excuse me, Tina Osbourne.
Good evening. I'm Mary Osbourne's mother. I'm also the mother of Sean, Ryan, and David, my 3 sons. I have 7 brothers, and when I was pregnant with Mary, I really wanted a girl. I just had this desire that I had to have a girl. And if I had a girl, I was going to name her Kelly or Shay or one of those really cute names back then. And my mother came up to me and said, Tina, if you want a girl, you pray this novena to Mother Cabriti for 9 days and you'll get a girl. Well, I thought 9 days. If I pray for 9 months, for sure I'll get a girl, like Stephanie. And lo and behold, yes, I got my Mary. And I did make a bet with the Blessed Mother, if you give me a girl, I'll name her Mary, and I'll name her Carmel after my mother. So I was very blessed. When Mary was about 20 years old, she always tried to keep up with her brothers, by the way, with surfing, her all into surfing. When she was about 20 years old, she was at UCSB. And when she was there, she auditioned for a reality TV show called Surf Girls. This is when reality shows was just starting. And she wanted to drop out of college. And I said, no way, you're not dropping out of school. And everyone was, come on, teenage, you can always go back to school. Of course she dropped out of school. And the reality show was a group of girls that would surf around the world. And it was competition. And she was all excited about this. This is great, just what I want to do. You know, I'm ready. So we would grab around the TV Monday night and wait for her to come on, and she was always kind of in the background on the show. And I'd get the phone call, I hate this. These girls are nothing but a bunch of cats. That's all they want to do is fight and talk about each other, and Mom, they can't even surf. So it was like, Mary, you keep your mouth shut, and you stay in the background and just do your job. And, well, she went on to win the whole competition. She was crowned whatever in Hawaii, and she surfed in Tahiti and won it all. After that, Mary decided she was going to promote herself. She wasn't going to go the Hollywood way. She was going to promote herself. So she was very successful at it. She went ahead and she was the only female to go to China and to surf the tidal bore wave. It's a wave that has hit for centuries in October because of the full moon, a big wave that goes down the the Yellow River, and it goes for miles. It hits at a certain time and the wave just goes for miles and miles and miles, and it's in a river, and you surf this wave. She was called back to China to surf every year for quite a while. Boy, did I pray then. But after that, then Mary went ahead and she promoted herself. Well, actually, she was asked to be on a ship with a bunch of scientists to travel from Brazil to South America. No, Brazil to South America, correct, Mary? No, to Africa. Brazil to Africa. And it was a 15,000-mile voyage to explore the plastic and the effects of plastic in the ocean. When Mary got off that ship, she looked like a skeleton. They ran out of water on the ship, and I was teaching over here, and I would have the television on all the time trying to talk to her on the ship, and it was a grueling experience for her. But later on then, in her professional life, she decided that she was going to start a surf school. And presently, she does have a very successful #1 surf school on the coast of, all the way, California. It's the best #1 surf school. And with that, she came up with the idea that she was going to start her own program, her own curriculum, and it was called Teen Safari. And it's for young girls from the ages of about 11 to 15 years old. And they come from all over the United States. And her curriculum is getting these girls in the community to see how they can become confident, what their future could be for work. She has speakers come in at night. She has chefs come in. She has meditation. She has artists come in. And I've been there the first day that these young girls arrive. And as teachers, you know, they can have an attitude. between that age, 11 to 15. Real attitude, they won't look at each other, these girls. And it's a challenge. It's a real challenge because a lot of them come from broken families and they're unhappy with themselves. And Mary says, just watch by the end of the week. Well, I went back at the end of the week and these girls are like little girls. They're fresh looking, they're smiling, they're happy, they've made friends, they have goals, they come back next year. So Mary is a teacher. She's a real teacher, and she has all the qualities that it takes to be a teacher. To be disciplined, to be strong, to be charismatic, and there's something about Mary. So I give to you my daughter, Mary Osbourne.
Thank you guys for having me. I didn't know my mom was gonna speak about all those stories. Not only did I know I was gonna dress like her tonight, we were almost gonna talk about the same things, but in reverse. First off, I just wanna thank you guys for having me here at St. Bonaventure and for all the teachers and staff. It's not every day that surfing gets a part of this type of event. And in the surfing world, you don't really get to be a part of a Hall of Fame till way later in life, so this is a big honor to be here. Normally in my career, it's me announcing everybody else, so I never really get the awards, so thank you so much. The roles have reversed. Where do I start? I didn't quite write a proper thing, but I wanted to talk about teaching because now my career has gone into that role. And when I was in high school, I did play volleyball and basketball, and I did want to be a teacher. And then I found surfing because of my brothers who are here tonight and really fell in love with that sport. And in between all that, if you don't know, Dawn was my cheerleading coach. And boy, did I have a flashback last night. And tonight, when I walked in and saw that giant trophy over there, I completely forgot about that part of my life, and it's such an honor to be here tonight and see that. And last night when we were at the game, so many memories came back, the cheerleading, the flying up in the air. I was looking for the seraph because I was the seraph, and I was really sad I didn't get to see that last night. But maybe at homecoming we'll come back in action. But I did notice something funny. My mom was my 7th grade teacher over at Assumption, and last night I saw all these little kids like running up to her, Miss Osbourne, Miss Osbourne, and I was like watching her cracking up. Like, my mom hasn't taught for 10 years. She was my 7th grade teacher. She taught so many kids in town, and now her and Trish, 10 years after they retired, are back teaching. They have filled in for another teacher over at over at Assumption. And I thought, how neat, these little kids they were like, I don't even know if they were 7th grade, they might have been 5th graders, like just so excited to see her. And it was the same feeling that I had, so excited to see the staff that I went to high school with. So it just shows that the camaraderie here at these schools, and it just runs for generations and generations. And now that I'm teaching, these kids how to surf, it's not a group sport, but the goal is to just be the best teacher that you can and give them this new experience and the things that I've been taught here at Bonnie and Assumption, I'm really trying to instill in our next generation. So I couldn't have done it without coming to Bonaventure and just still having that feeling every time I come back here, seeing familiar faces and coaches and just the love that this community has. So thank you so much for having me here again. Thank you so much for teaching me what it's like to be a teacher. I didn't go to the college route. I did drop out, as she said. But I do feel like I'm teaching in a unique way. So I appreciate it, and thank you guys very much.
And with that, I'd like to induct Mary Osbourne to the St. Bonaventure Hall of Fame. Next, I'd like to bring up another St. Bonaventure Hall of Famer, Coach John Mack, to speak a little bit about Sister Josane. Kathy Mack? Yes? No? Yes? Yes?
Pep spoke earlier about the Sister Josane in the hallway. That was every day. She would notice somebody. And Brother Paul used to always talk about how important it was from 3 to 7, not from 7 to 3, and the life that occurs there. And she would always would recognize that. But I have to tell a story because sisters and I were sharing some of our stories about Sister Josane, and so many of them are the same, so I'm going to not steal any thunder, but I have one. Brother Paul would host a dinner at graduation, and it was for faculty, a few of the teachers, and some special guests. And Sister Josane and I always got to go. And I figured out very quickly, sit next to Sister Josane, because she would order a steak, and she'd only eat half. And then she'd slide half my way. So it was, she was such a great person. And tonight we should all have a Manhattan on her behalf. That was her favorite drink. I was a little disappointed we didn't have one in memory of her here, but she taught me about computers, that there's nothing I can do to break it. Go ahead and play games and learn how to play. And we have just so many great memories together over the years. And she was just such a great supporter. We're going to talk tonight about the lights and the countdown. But what I didn't realize, and I just found out tonight, she was at all the games. She already knew the score. And she'd come back here and pretend like she didn't know and wave to us from the balcony. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce the Sisters of Notre Dame here to represent Sister Josane. What a great home all has.
John, and I did prepare something, and I'm a teacher, so if I prepare a lesson, you're going to get it. You're going to hear about it. So Sister Therrien and I lived with Sister Josane in the OLA convent, the big one next door, and then we moved to the house on Dunning Street. She was part of St. Bonaventure's staff from 1984 through 2007, and in that last year, she actually commuted by bus from Notre Dame Center in Thousand Oaks. That's how much she loved this school. At that time, she was 81 years old. Sister was a mathematics teacher. She initiated the math contest here, in which so many elementary schools participated, and she had some really tricky problems in that test. But her love of football even surpassed her love of math, and she participated in the wonderful tradition that John referred to, which acknowledged the football team and Coach Mack after every game. However, I discovered that tradition started with Sister St. Charles. In the early years, the sisters weren't allowed to go to the football games. And by the time Sister Josane came along, she and Sister Francilia would go to all of the games. But the tradition was, after the game, football team, the game that Sister Josane was at, she knew the score, the team would come to the convent. There's an outside door and outside stairs. And Sister would open the door, and the team would be down there with John Mack, and then they would begin to shout, to count what the score was. 1, 2, 3, and then Sister Josane would keep flashing the light on and off as they counted the score. Now those of us who lived in a different part of the convent had probably already been in bed for a couple of hours. But we could also hear the count. 56, 57, 58. She was Brother Paul's and Coach Mack's biggest supporter. She died in 2016, 2 weeks before her 91st birthday, and I am confident that from her place in heaven, she's wearing her seraph's jacket, she's smiling broadly, and she is toasting us with her signature drink, the Manhattan. So thank you on behalf of Sister Josane in heaven and the sisters in heaven. Thank you so much.
Earlier, Pep talked about legacy, and Sister Josane was certainly part of this legacy. You know, very quietly doing her job in the background, running the math contest and all the other things she did, but supporting all of us and making us feel like whatever we were doing was important and special. So another round of applause for Sister Gilbreth.
We kind of skipped around tonight, but in honor of Mike Williams, we're going to go back to alphabetical. So the next one we're going to call up, he's not here with us tonight. He's preparing for a game Monday night with the Charlotte Panthers, Carolina Panthers. Troy Hill, but his Uncle Jim's here, and he's going to speak on his behalf. Jim Hill.
Well, you guys have been enduring a lot of legacy talk and narrative. You know, me being a ordained minister, pastor, speaker, I don't know if many of you ever went to an Easter Sunday Baptist church, African American, and they have like 5 pastors that preach. And we're in the congregation, this is going to be a contest. Who's going to out-preach each other? So I got about 4 good people at my table. But we'll keep breathing, you know. And I'm gonna tell them to do the Proverbs version. Proverbs, you know, you have a fragment and then an independent clause. So bring the fragment and then bring the fire and keep it short, 2 minutes. And then I'm gonna close it out, all right? So I'm gonna invite Mr. Jordan up first. Come on up. And as Jordan comes, he's a friend of Troy, student of Troy, and I'm just gonna say this one little thing about him, because I tease him all the time. Between Todd, rougher me when I'm gonna kick Troy in his donkey, and Jordan, he was a great mentor and friend for Troy. And Troy went through some difficult times, but this young man and his mom and family was always there for him. Thank you.
Appreciate that, thank you. You know, my family's been going to school here since 1996, so we've been able to see a lot of these Hall of Famers, you know, in person, you know, but I really feel like I got to be in school with one of the best ones, you know, not just for what he accomplished, you know, in sports, but for what he's accomplished as a man and as a person. You know, Troy is right up there with some of the best people I've ever met. You know, he's been there for me through some of my harder times. You know, high school was a blur for me, but he was somebody that was constant. And you know, I could always count on seeing him and getting some real advice from him no matter what. And I always tried to make sure I was there to do the same for him. I've been able to see his kids grow up. You know, my wife has taught them in school. It's just really awesome to see who he's become, you know, beyond sports and what he's going to be able to do for his community afterwards, you know. And I'm going to keep it short there, but I just want to make sure that as much as we're honoring him as an athlete tonight, we don't forget him as a person and what, you know, what he means to everybody in his life, you know. So just want to make sure I do that. And on a quick note, I want to say something about Coach T, Todd Therrien. You know, I don't know if me and him ever saw eye to eye as a, you know, athlete coach, but you know, a lot of people forget that he was a teacher too. You know, I mean, I had him as a history teacher, and I think that's where I learned that Todd is deeper than football. You know, I got a lot of good memories with Coach T as a teacher, and I hope, you know, just whatever he chooses to do with the rest of his life, you know, he just continues to make impact on people like he did me in high school. You know, so appreciate you guys giving me a little time.
Mr. Byron Ward, please. Byron Ward, a longtime friend, from Ohio to Cincinnati, my homeboy, and went to Cincinnati. But he was a mentor for Troy when he first came. And so I've always been there. Very spiritual man, him and his wife. We coached at Oxnard College for years, mentored a lot of young men. He's a great leader in this community. So Byron,
this is a real honor and a pleasure. I was kind of surprised Jim asked me if I would like to say a few words about Troy. As he mentioned, I'm a native from Ohio. Those guys are from a tough town in Youngstown, Ohio. I'm a country boy. So it's a real honor. When I think of Troy, I think about a young man that exemplifies persistence, perseverance, and resilience. Those are some great attributes. And as I've watched Troy's career and his life, I think those are the values and the words that stand out to me. He's been through some challenges and he's come out on top. To have, what's he been in the league now? 9 years. Because I remember watching him play, I said, Troy's so small, he's about this much taller than me and thin, but he was fast. So, you know, you wonder how far can he go? And he's made it all the way to the league. I think the attribute that I recognized most was that he was a smart player along with his athletic ability. I'm very proud of the person I know him to be now as a parent and the career he's built in the league and his preparation for after football. I'm sure he's grateful and honored by this ceremony. Out of all the great athletes that have played for St. Bonnie, of course, I recognize St. Bonnie for their athletic achievements and many championships, but the experience I've had is that the family environment and culture that I've experienced. So I'm not sure if these comments are up to the occasion, but they're from the heart, and thank you for allowing me to share.
Mr. Jeff McKenzie. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jeff McKenzie. I'm a business owner in Oxnard. I own an electrical engineering firm, and I'm just grateful for my friend Jim Gilbreth to allow me to speak on behalf of Troy Hill. Jim asked me to help mentor and guide and give some wisdom to Troy. And I want to just say, he's had a great career. But what I respect most about Troy is even just hearing about St. Bonaventure, the people here. You guys taught him well, and he's learned a lot. But what I respect most about him is his humility and his willingness to give back. We all been through trials and tribulations. We all go through a lot. But I've watched Troy. I remember when Jim asked me to, when he was going to Oregon, and once he got to Oregon, all these agents wanted to talk to Troy to be his agent. And Jim asked me to sit in on some of those meetings, and you'd be surprised at what agents will tell a young kid. And I just gave him wisdom to say, be careful. Watch who you think they're really about you. And he's got a great head on his shoulders. And that's come from the upbringing he had here and all the way through Oregon, Cincinnati, St. Louis, the Rams, and now with the Carolina Panthers. So Jim, I just thank you that you showed me a way to be, Troy's like a son to me. And he's like a friend to me at the same time, because I learn from him, and I teach my kids from a lot of things he's been through. So thank you, Jim, for the honor to meet Troy. He'll be a friend of his.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Before I close it out, I do want to give acknowledgement and honor to some very important people that have been instrumental in my life, Troy's life. I've sent 3 kids through here. My daughter, Angelique, played with Casco's daughter, basketball. That's my lady right there. That's my girl. She's strong. I'm so glad she is in the position she's in. I want to give honor to Brother Paul. Get out. He opened the door for us. John, man. First day. Daryl Scott showed up that day. I said, oh, this is going to be a special day today. Troy came from a very bad background, 8th grade. I was talking with Coach Mack and Todd for a long, long time. Coach Gibby finally got that DB kid I was talking about, but Troy was a rough kid at 7th and 8th grade. I was supposed to pick him up September '05. He hid from me. I paid for the ticket. I'm gonna say something. I was upset. I came back and said, you know what, I'm done. But by December, my sister called and said, please, my sister was going through recovery stuff. Troy's dad was nowhere in sight. Actually, he was trying to make Troy sell drugs on the street. Troy's carrying a little sawed-off shotgun as an 8th grader. My sister said, please come get him. I said, all right, I'm gonna come this time, but I'm not telling you. So I pulled to Pittsburgh Airport, got my rental car. I know they sit on the porch. The reason why you can tackle those big tight ends is because they play football in the little grass lots in the front yard. You can't run very far, you gotta hit somebody. All my little nephews play football like that. I pulled up in front of my mom's house. He's sitting on the porch, says, get your donkey in the car now. We going to California. Okay, I'll go. So they already had his bags packed. We did the private guardianship here. January 2006, Troy comes to St. Bonaventure and meets my main man, Coach Todd. I love him. Beyond football. And I've been there for him beyond football. And always will be. Always will be. Right here. Okay? But this sums up. This is really not about Troy, but I'm going to tell you who this is about. And this is out of Scripture. To be lonely and isolated is not God's will for us. Therefore, God sets the solitary in families. Psalm 68:6. God's greatness is seen in his compassion and concern and care for the weak and needy. God sees those who live without a close family connection and cares to provide them with families. Oh yeah, we're here to honor Troy. But let me tell you who we're here to honor. We're here to honor God. We're here to honor God. God did this for Troy. I'm just a vessel, my uncles did it for me, but God set Troy in this family. And I'm going to talk about the family here. The first day he showed up, he got love here. Tyler Souza embraced him right away. The teammate Dylan Davis embraced him right away. I could go on and on and on. This little wild thing from Youngstown, Ohio, got love right away. Love can change all things. Love never fails. Coach Gibby took him on his wings, started propelling him. Todd told me, your nephew got the fastest feet I've ever seen. I remember that one special day, Pepe and all the coaches, they were practicing. They brought me in a little room over here. Come here, Mr. Hill. And they all, I said, oh, what have you done now? You remember that, Gibby? That day? We want to tell you about Troy. He's going somewhere. Wow. That next year, Arizona offered him. But it's the family here. That's what I'm going to talk about. Not very long. That family goes beyond Troy Hill. Troy's gone, but the family's still here. Come on, Troy. Ms. Castro, all the coaches, Mr. Herrera, man, I don't know how many times we've talked. They went to Cleveland, these guys. What y'all doing in Cleveland? You go home more than I do, you know? It's the family of St. Bonaventure that's the treasure that we must sustain. And that's what Troy wants to invest in. And Troy has special things that he wants to do, that we want to do. And that's why I invited some of my friends here that's been over the years. Because we have to sustain the St. Bonaventure family for more Troy Hills. And if I told you what Troy planned, you think I brought him? Well, he's getting ready to exponentially replicate that, you know, and what he wants to do for the school. And we're looking at redoing these locker rooms someday. We have good plans. And I just want to say to all of you, and I'm going to say this, which I found out last night about J.B. Dodd's dad. I didn't even know him. Another good man. We've had so many good people to St. Bonnie. His family here. And in closing, I'm going to just ask you guys to do this in honor of the family of St. Bonaventure. Would you stand and tell the person next to you, thank you for being St. Bonaventure family. Let's keep being them. In the name of Jesus, we're going forward. Troy's going forward. St. Bonaventure's going forward. And we're going to have more family, more depth, more connection. We'll have great days ahead. Thank you.
And as I said, Troy's getting ready for his game Monday night, but he did send a message for us. And Coach Byron.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Troy Hill. Wish I could be there with y'all. Kind of heard that I'm not, but gotta prepare for this game, this Monday night game against the Saints. I just want to say thank you to everybody there to support me. I want to say thank you to the ones who helped me get to where I needed to be. Counselors, to coaches, everybody. I don't want to just go out and just name drop everybody. There's people in that room who helped me, inspired me to get to where I needed to be. Had some hard times out there, and I was able to fight through them. I just want to say thank y'all again and again from the bottom of my heart. I want to say thank you to the school for accepting me when I was a young kid. I came out there not knowing anybody but my uncle, and I came out with a family and everybody who embraced me, and I want to say I appreciate y'all so much. Been busy a lot, so I haven't been able to get out there as much as I want to, but my bye week's coming up, so I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of familiar faces when I get out there for that weekend. So again, can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. Go Sarahs.
With his plaque and induct Troy Hill to the St. Bonaventure Hall of Fame.
Youngstown, he was looking at that hurricane wind every time.
Once again, I'd like to introduce our Hall of Fame coach, John Mack, who's going to speak on behalf of Mike Williams.
Very fitting that Michael Williams is being inducted to the Hall of Fame. Michael, there's so many stories, and we're going to start with one, Michael King, and I wish he was here today, that Gomes, when Michael was in 7th grade, I think, Gomes was a counselor here, Bob Hahn, those of you that don't know. He was a counselor, he told me, hey, there's a kid up in Sandy Inez. Am I right, Sandy Inez? There's a kid in Sandy Inez. And I'm thinking, Sandy Inez? That's a long way away. What about this kid? Oh, he's a real good athlete. You'd really like this kid. You know, okay, he's a 7th grader who lives in Sandy Inez. Well, thanks, Gomes, I appreciate it. See you later. And little did I know, later on we meet Michael's dad. Michael's dad made a commitment to getting Michael here. He would drive down on Monday morning and he would stay with players at, who was your freshman year? Played tight end. Yes. And he'd spend the night on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Friday night his dad would pick him up and take him back to, and then, well, no, we'd make him stay till Saturday. So he was here all the time, but his dad found a way to get him back and forth from San Ynez to St. Bonaventure. Never tardy, on time every day, until his senior year when they moved right in the apartment right on the other side of the block wall. Michael would be there for morning weights and then would be in first period, and Brother Paul would say, "Where's Michael?" He was at weights. I don't know where it is. And I'd have to send somebody over the wall to get him out of bed and get him into English class. But Michael, I want to tell one story of his senior year. It was a senior year versus Newbury Park, and we're up by about 10. Angel will know the details. We're up by 10, and you know, a close game, but we're feeling comfortable. The rule is for punt returner, don't touch the ball. If it's stand on the 10, let it go over your head, or fair catching on the 10. Michael goes about 4 yards deep in the end zone, catches the ball, and that was the year I had some blood clots, so I was up in the booth. I'm screaming, what is he doing? He did digits and dashes and dodges, and Bill remembers up the sideline. Next thing you know, it's a 105-yard punt return for a touchdown. And we said, oh, I guess Michael can break that rule. We're not going to talk about it. I had the pleasure of coaching Mike in the All-American Bowl, and this is kind of where Michael and I realized how talented he was. Because here's the best players from the entire country, the top 50 are on one side, the other 50 on the other side, and Michael's as good as anybody starting on the team. And I think I was coaching offensive line that guy, or I was the head coach. I was the head coach, but I was kind of watching the O-line. I let the defensive coaches pick who's going to be the starters, and there was no doubt that Michael was starting at safety and Blaine Irving was starting at linebacker. They both went on to have fantastic college careers. I believe Michael was two-time strength, weight room, what was the award, at Michigan? Weight room warrior, and he was the first freshman, as I remember, that won that award. And as you all know, you've all heard, we take great pride in the weight room. The weight room's a big deal to us. We really feel like that's the difference maker. And for Michael to go to college at the University of Michigan and to win that award as a freshman gave me a great sense of pride. And Art talked about Paracletes, and Michael volunteered for me when I first started at Wainini, came out and spent every Wednesday morning teaching my kids how to Paraclete. Through the COVID time when we were lifting outside to where we got back in the weight room, where we got kicked back out, he would still show up and volunteer his time with kids. So he cares about kids, he cares about giving back. Special, special athlete, great young man. I want to introduce you to Michael Williams.
Good evening. It's such an honor to be here with you all. I'm inspired by all of your stories, all of you coaches that have helped me throughout my career. I just want to show you guys this picture. I went up to get some memorabilia from a storage unit in Lompoc, and as I'm rummaging through all these things, my mom calls me and she says, "I may have sold it." I was like, "What do you mean you sold it?" It's my All-American jersey. My dad got it framed. And she was like, "I didn't know what it was. I'm sorry." So I was like, "It's okay, Mom. All things fade, right?" But I did find this picture. Let me show it to y'all. So this is when my first year of playing football in San Ynez. So Coach Mack already kind of dispelled. There was a lot of myths going around that I got recruited. I did not get recruited. I was attracted to St. Bonaventure. It was Bob Hahn, and Casey Hahn was his son. He was in 8th grade to me, and he kept talking about Lorenzo Booker and Whitney Lewis and how they were the most amazing football players he had ever seen. And that's when I really started to get into football. My first year playing football, I was terrible. But my aunt, she made this poster for me, Michigan football. I always put that on my wall. So when he started talking about this fantastic football team down in Ventura, I asked my dad if we could go check out a game. And the first game I ever saw for St. Bonaventure was when we played Westlake in the playoffs. And Whitney Lewis trucked the safety on a run I've never seen and probably never will again. And at that moment, I knew where I wanted to go. And I asked my dad, I said, "Dad, this is where I would love to go." And he's like, if you're in, I'm in. And so we made the commitment. And that was just really the first part of the journey. When I got here, as everyone has spoken, the family aspect is is all-encompassing. You don't realize the foundation that's being given to you when you're here. You're just fully immersed in it. Coach Mack, he brought me in, made me a part of his family. Kathy Mack, Critter, it was just, we're all one big family. Coach Gibby, Bill and Todd. The thing about St. Bonaventure is that I realized, and I had this dream, and I thought it was impossible. But these coaches, they believed in us. They really did. There was so many weeks where Coach Mack would have us go to these combines down at USC. And I mean, sometimes we would just do terrible. But each week he would tell you, keep going, keep going. And same thing with Todd, keep going, doesn't matter, just go, just go. And they believed in us so deeply. They saw something so great in us that for many of those initial years, we didn't even see it ourselves. But they gave us that conviction to go a little bit more beyond ourselves. So we kept going, and we kept working hard. And then the players, we all had that same mindset to be great, and to work, and to iron sharpens iron. So it was a great brotherhood. As Coach was saying, we would be up at 6, we'd be in the weight room, in the class by 8, and then we had study hall afterwards, and then by the time we're done with homework, it's 9 o'clock, and we start the whole thing over again. But it was the necessary preparation for what our goals and dreams were as a team. And it was one of the best opportunities that we all got to experience. And I will never forget the culmination for me, kind of as Coach Jim was saying, when they brought him in to talk about Troy's going places. There was really nothing. All my friends, all of the other DBs everyone was getting offers. It was good. We were all going to go play college, but nothing had happened for me initially. And I was doubting myself. I was asking my dad, "Are you sure? You sure I have what it takes?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, I talked to Coach Mack, and he says, "Yes, you have what it takes. Just have faith in it." And lo and behold, one practice, this coach comes out. He has me do a back pedal, and then he talks to Coach, and then tells me to come back over, and he says, "Just want to let you know you just earned a Fulbright scholarship to the University of Michigan." And in that moment, I went back to the huddle. I told my teammates, and everyone, just like Jim was saying, their family, everyone was ecstatic for what had happened. If it happened to one of us, it happened to all of us. And that's how we truly felt. And so this is a special place for that camaraderie and a place where dreams do come true. And I'm so fortunate to have had the coaches that believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And I always look back in times of any type of confusion in my life to the foundation that was laid here. Because at the root, the core, the complete surrender that we had to do here, the selfless service, the unconditional commitment, right? Those are the tenets that help me day in and day out in my life. So I'm so grateful to you all here. I'm honored to be a part of this inductee, and I just want to say thank you.
Mike, I'm very proud to introduce and induct you into the St. Bonaventure Hall of Fame.
Before we close the evening now, that was a great night. A lot of great stories, great class. You 9 that are inducted. Truly honored to spend this evening with you guys and hear your stories. I'd like to bring up our principal, Mrs. Castro, to say a few words. She made this night possible. And, she's got the school going in the right direction throughout the year. Working for everyone.
Wrong. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee. This was a great night. I don't want to keep you any longer, but I am so inspired. And, I'm sitting back there saying, wow, there's something that connects us all. And there's something so unique and special about this school. Whether you have a child that went through here, whether you went here yourself, you have a relative, somehow you were a part of the school, you mentored somebody here, your family, we love each other. Well, that bond is inseparable. It's amazing. For me as principal, it's my job and my duty and my absolute honor to take what I heard tonight and transfer that somehow to the kids that I'm mentoring, hopefully, and inspiring today. We've got a lot of great kids right now, and it's an amazing opportunity and a pleasure, an honor for me to be principal of the school. But like I said, as I sat back there, I said, wow, how am I gonna transfer this? How am I gonna communicate what I experienced tonight to them? I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it in your honor, because it just has to be. And with that, we'll continue, and we will grow, and we'll be even greater. So thank you so much. I'm honored and so blessed that all of you are here. What a wonderful celebration. Thank you, everybody.
And one final request before we close the evening. Coach Don would like all the inductees to come up for a photo.